Hey guys, Dwayne here. Summer's about done, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the kids going back to school and how to deal with that, with the co-parenting aspect of it. Now, I know I've said this before. The first thing, just don't expect co-parenting to happen. If you're dealing with a person like this, it's not going to change. They're not gonna one day just figure out that they need to do things differently. It's just not going to happen. So just going in, that's key, that's critical, because if you just accept that, then you manage your own expectations. So on that, plus the other thing, by accepting that, it enables you to not get angry about them not co-parenting. So what I and so the thing with that, and this is a problem that I went through. When you're trying to deal with a person, and you're trying to, do it the way it's supposed to work. And if you've gone through the divorce process, I know in my situation, we were required to take some, well, they were only online, but some co-parenting type classes. And, I mean, and the thing is, if you, they're really great. I mean, they are excellent classes. And if both parents are don't have an issue when they go through that class, either in person or online or whatever, there'll be an impact, right? It'll be like, hey, if you put the kids in the middle, it's bad for them. If you let them hear stuff, it's bad for them. If you don't, um, you know, make easy access so that they can talk to both parents. It's all these things are really damaging to kids. Now, here's the problem with that is if you don't fall in that category and you know what you're supposed to be doing and you're trying to do it and your ex isn't doing it, it messes with your head. Okay, and I've talked about this in other videos, but I think it's worth repeating and going over again. They don't have the capability to do it differently. So, and the worst part about it is if they know that it's important to you, then they have a way to gaslight you. They have a way to manipulate you. They have a way to get under your skin. They have a way to try to get you to do reactionary seeking type behavior. And your best bet is to not engage with them. That's where that hybrid no contact thing is so important. And I know for me, at least in the beginning stages of this, it was really frustrating because, you want to share the information, um, depending on, and then it's a shell game depending on where the kids are at the time, right? I mean, if the kids get you the information, I mean, if they're with you at the time that they get the information from school and they bring it back and they give it to you, then great. Then you have the information and you can do what you're supposed to do by making a copy or scanning it and sending it, or however you share the information. Now, just to reiterate this, I would highly recommend you do not engage in a conversation with the person, with the narcissist. And what I mean by that is what you don't want to do is send an email where the information is in the text of the email, or where it's a dialogue, like, hey, here's the information from the school, this is what the kids are doing, what do you think, or whatever. I mean, just don't go there. That's why I think scanning is great, because what you can do is you can scan if it's a schedule, or it's a whatever notification or whatever piece of information that needs to be shared, you scan it, you attach it to an email, and you say, hello, X, comma. I like hello because it's better than hey, or it's better than just the name because it's like more mellow. Here, attached is the information, attached is the school schedule, and then your name, Dwayne, send. You don't ask a question. You're not trying to engage in dialogue. You don't leave any open-ended opportunity for the person to come back and try to say something. You don't do it. And you definitely don't, here's the information, hey, per the court order, I'm sharing the information like you're supposed to. This is how you're supposed to do it. Don't just don't don't do it. I've been there. I've done similar things. I don't know if I've done quite like that, but because then it just turns what it is you know they are trying to get you to do that. They are trying to get you to react. They're trying to get you to get angry and stuff like that. So just don't even allow yourself to do it. Don't even go down there. It doesn't serve a purpose. It's not going to help you, and it's not going to help your kids. So just don't do it. Okay. So, what do you do when your kids are back in school and the ex isn't sharing any information? Well, you bypass the ex. You can try to get the kids to give the information to you, and that's complicated because it's putting them in the middle, and you really don't want to do that. But the better way to do it is talk to the teacher. Try to explain to them in a constructive, non-angry sort of way that, hey, here's the situation I have. Could you please make sure you send 2 envelopes, one for mom, one for dad, so that I get the information, that you also get the information. The other thing is, if you can establish, now some schools are really good where the teachers will communicate with you via email, so you can do that. But see, even then, it's complicated, right? Because they got students, they're trying to do their thing, and they don't necessarily see what it is. Remember, a narcissist is a master at hiding who they are. They're a master at pretending and projecting to be somebody different. So they can go and interact with the teacher and come across like a normal, caring, involved parent. You know that it's not true. I know it's not true. You know that it's all lip service and whatever that person says to make themselves look good or to make them look like a good parent, 2 seconds after they walk out the door is gone. The teacher's not necessarily going to know that. Now, the good part about this is that they will, like they always do, they will expose themselves. So if you, and for instance, what I had to do for one of the years, most of the teachers were really good, but I had this one teacher who was a great teacher. He was an awesome teacher. But he didn't really get it at first, and so information would go home. It got to the point where I was, in constant communication, and at one point he wouldn't say so here's the caveat on this, just to touch on a point. If your kids are going through this and they're younger kids, they are more than likely going to be having problems in school. They're not going to be getting along with people. They're going to have a hard time concentrating. They're going to get, they'll be on and off, either good days or bad days. More than likely, there'll be good days or bad days depending on which house they're at and what the current situation is. And their grades are going to suffer. It is going to negatively impact them. Now, if that happens, and this whole co-parenting thing is even more important, because you have to make sure that you're helping your kids or your child as much as possible. And if you don't know what's going on, there's nothing you can do. So, and if you get into that situation, more than likely what's happening is you're going to get to the point where the teacher will be sending weekly progress reports home to show what's missing, what's being done, what their grades are, and stuff like that. If you're not getting it, it's a big problem, because how do you to deal with it? Ultimately, what I ended up having to do is talking to the teacher, and then they would send, and the problem was the day that he was sending it home with with my child was not my day. So it's like, hey, can you switch? The guy was kind of adamant it would be this day. And so the information would come and it would be like, okay, where's the progress report? Well, I sent it home. Well, I explained to you that I will never get it. Actually, to be perfectly honest, and here's the thing, just one other thing, just to kind of touch base on this. It's not necessarily that the narcissist is getting that information and making a decision to not give it to you. It's that they don't care and don't even look for it because it has nothing to do with them. They don't care. It is hard to wrap your head around, and you're going to think, okay, well, that can't be possible. I mean, as you learn more of this stuff, you realize it is. But when you're going through it and you're trying to figure it out, you'll be like, this isn't possible. This isn't possible. There's no way that this is being done because the person doesn't care. The only thing that makes sense is they're doing it to specifically not share information and to get back at you. I don't think that's really what's happening. I think what's happening is they don't care. It has nothing to do with them unless somebody like the teacher, grabs them and says, "Hey, this is a problem. You need to do something about it." They might acknowledge it then, but again, as soon as they're 2 minutes away from it, they'll forget. So, what I ended up having to do is, like, look, I'm just like, look, take a picture and text it to me, and initially, this one teacher was not very technology savvy. Um, was having issues with that. I'm like, okay, fine. When do you do it? I will come by your classroom every time that day and pick it up. And that, I think, was a part where he's like, I don't necessarily want that to happen. So then he started sending it, right? And that helped. I mean, so I would get the information. And actually, what I would do to share information, if I got it, so now I have a copy of it, I would email it to the ex. Now, I didn't serve a purpose. I mean, she didn't do anything with it. She didn't respond to it. It didn't make her remember that, she needed to do something to help her child. But it was, I mean, that's what you're required, you are supposed to do. Now, I guess you can make the argument that technically that information is also, you know, going to that person's house. So there is a chance, but I mean, it's like, hey, look, like I said before, I would share everything. So if I got it, and there's a bunch of different apps. If you have a smartphone, there's a bunch of different apps that will take a picture that if someone sends you, and as long as it has all four corners of the document, you hit a button and it turns it into a PDF document. I would do that. I save it on the computer to archive it. I would email it to her with my normal hello person, attached as the weekly progress report name. I mean, just simple, not, don't get into any, argument or anything like that. Okay, so the main thing you have to do, I guess, to wrap this up is you have to bypass the X to get the information that you need. And you just need to accept it. And it's going to make you mad, and it's going to frustrate you, and it's going to be like, no, they are supposed to do X. They're court ordered to do this. They have to do this. Well, you can't make them do it. And unless you're planning on going back to court, it's not going to happen. And even if it does, what are you going to accomplish? I mean, you might be able to get them to do something, but it is going to cost you a ton of money. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you time away from work. And, ultimately, what is going to happen? I mean, the problem with this type of abuse, the emotional abuse, is it's not really visible. It's not, it's not life-threatening to to your kids. So more than likely, unless you are living in an area where they understand this and they do something about it, they're not going to turn around and give you full custody of the kids. Oh my gosh, this person is so horrible. So, we will give you, mom full custody or dad full custody of the kids. It ain't going to happen. And besides that, realistically, your kids need to have reoccurring, meaningful interaction with the other parent. If you pull that away, I mean, if they are involved, and don't go away, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, and if the narcissistic ex is getting their supply from the kids, then they will fight you tooth and nail on that. I mean, and it's just like, okay, so what are you going to be able to do? I mean, the only option that the narcissist has is to try to do a move away. And unless you allow them to do it, it's not going to happen. The court is not going to allow, I mean, unless there is some significant reason, they're not going to allow them to move. And if you get to that point, they will order a custody evaluation, which is really expensive, where they will do an evaluation unless there is some reason. Typically, the person moving is at a significant disadvantage if it's, if there's already an established visitation, or you're in the beginning stages of trying to do it and both people are trying to be a part of it, part of the thing, part of the kids' lives, I mean. So I kind of went off on a tangent on that. I guess I just wanted to, I mean, that's just something that's good to know. Um, the last thing is, do your best to not use the kids to pass information. Um, they are already in the middle of it. You don't need to, you don't need to add more to them. It's not good for them. Now, to get the other parent to actually share information is incredibly complicated, but it's just that's a tough one. All right, so I kind of went off a little bit on that one. So we're all getting ready to get the kids back in school. So just bottom line, mentally prepare yourself for it. Just find a way to bypass it. If the school sends emails or the school sends, a robocall or whatever, make sure your number is on it as well. Make sure that they call you as well. If not, go in and talk to them about it. You know, and explain to them. I mean, explain to them the situation. And worst case scenario, if they're like, we will only send information to one person, basically make them give it to you, because you will also share it. Okay, so at least the other person's getting it, and it's not being in a vacuum. Okay, so um, you know, it's that's a tough one. I mean, this whole thing is tough. But I know I feel like a broken record. I keep saying, the more you learn, the more you know, the more you be able to deal with it. But it's true. I mean, it is totally true, guys. I mean, if you're right in the midst of this, if you're in the middle of all the anger and the frustration, and you're just wrapping your head around it, wrapping your head around everything that's going on, it's driving you crazy. But the more you learn about it, the more you understand it, the more that when something happens, you go, oh, yeah, that's right. It's not personal what the person did to your kid or what they said to him. It wasn't really, it had nothing. I mean, it wasn't like an attack on them. It's just, all it is about them. So they don't care. They have no empathy. They don't even understand or can relate to what they're doing. Um, the more you learn that, understand it, guys, it's like like the clouds dissipating from the sky, and the sun coming through and warming everything up. I mean, it's just it it sucks, but it gets better. So okay, so I kind of went off on a tangent on that one. So I mean, I know school is getting ready to come up. It's kind of hard to believe that the whole summer is just like gone like that. That's incredible. Uh, and hopefully this video will help you prepare yourself. Will help you be able to deal with, the co-parenting, or, well, the co-parenting, no co-parenting that you have to deal with. Okay, so on that, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you had a great summer. Hopefully you did some great stuff with your kids and stuff. And I'll talk to you on the next one. So take care, guys. Bye.